I'm here from eSports News UK. I'm joined today by Philip Macartney, owner of Enclave Gaming. Thanks for joining us, Philip.
That's no problem. Thanks for having me on, man.
No, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. So this is a sort of a new thing I wanted to do where we can have we talk to people in the UK League of Legends scene. We talk to
Yeah.
owners from different organisations and find out a bit more about them and a bit more about their organisations as well. So, yeah, really happy to be starting off with you guys. Philip, you won I-60 on the weekend, so we've got lots to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, I'm going to start with a quote from Simon Ninjaroni Lamb, Enclave's head of web operations. He described you as the man, the myth, the legend, the Wolf of Wall Street of UK esports. So that's quite a statement, you know. So maybe you can start by why he said that and telling us a bit about yourself and how you got into esports.
I think Simon said that because I don't know, he just likes to have a joke. It's not really a good thing to be the Wolf of Wall Street because if you know that like film, the guy's a con artist. So I don't know if Simon's trying to hint something at me, but no, my name's my IGN is Britsaint, but most people just call me like Philip or Phil Macartney because I find it weird to call people by their like IGNs, but someone calls me Britsaint, it's a bit like I don't know, I cringe a little bit for some reason. But no, I'm a student at formerly soon a student at like Oxford Brookes, and I got into esports by playing Dota 2. Like I was a
Oh, right.
yeah, I was a Dota 2 player for a while. That's how Enclave really got started up because like there was no team to pick me up, so I was like, I know, I'll create my own team and I'll use a joke from Fallout 3, the game, to create an org called like Enclave Gaming. So
Oh,
that's
right.
yeah, because not many people know that. Like, I think there was someone who guessed it right, but yeah, Enclave is the enemies in or the bad guys in Fallout 3. So for some reason I like that game. I use that. So
No, I'm
uh,
I'm a big fan of that game. I played that to death on the Xbox 360, and I'd actually forgotten that Enclave was
yeah.
the name of the bad guys. That makes me feel really bad, you know, that I'd forgotten that.
It was funny because I 59. I think I saw someone like doing a cosplay and like somebody had power armor, and I
Yeah,
swear to God they had the Enclave symbol on their chest, and I was like, wait, if anyone sees this, they're gonna finally realize the myth behind or like the reason why I called them Enclave. But yeah,
yeah.
that's the reason why I called it
Okay,
Enclave.
cool. Well, maybe you can tell us a bit about sort of Enclave's history, why it was formed. You know, what the games were that you first went into.
Um, uh, the reason why I formed Enclave was well, it just started off as a team. It just started off as like a team with my friends that I
Mm,
played with as like a Dota 2 like player trying to get into the scene, trying to get into the UK Dota scene and stuff like that.
yeah,
And then we were just like we at one point I think me and my friend Matt, who was previously a co-owner,
yeah.
decided like, actually let's have a crack at this. Let's have a go at being an org. And like at that point, I think we didn't really realize like how hard it would be, or like how what would happen when you start, because obviously you need to get like different teams going, and it wasn't really successful
Yeah.
uh, at first point, and I feel like the passion probably wasn't there. But then a certain event happened, and we don't know how much I can say about this. Yeah, a certain event happened where we were nearly picked up by like another team,
Mm,
and the like experience of like talking to them and stuff like that. As much as like I learned a little bit about how to run an organization from them, I also learned how to run, how to not to run an organization,
mm,
and like what, because as I was a player at the time, I was like, no, this is not. This is like I'm gonna make an org for the players,
mm.
and then that's why. Then after that, I got this like massive passion to like create an org, and we started to try and go. Started to trying to go into like CS:GO, which CS:GO is a fantastic scene where
Mm.
everyone doesn't disband after a week, Kappa. But yeah, it was. We tried to go into there, and then we picked up a league team, but at the same time like we weren't really serious about that. Like Dota was our main focus, and that was simply because I was on the team. Me and the co-owner, Matthew Siri, what was on the team, and we like didn't really like there were other scenes, but we like didn't really try to get involved in them. Like I was more trying to like push forward like UK scene and stuff like that, and that's when after I like realized, I'm getting older now. I can't really be a like player. I like won one of the like amateur lands there, and then was like, okay, that's my career, and gave up. And then that's when we got to where we are kind of today. Is when actually saw, wait, UK Dota has no structure, and then I saw the league scene. I was like, Jesus, this is so different to what I'm like used to. That's when we like started really investing in League of Legends.
Yeah, definitely. I will say to that point as well. Why do you think I'm a journalist? My reactions have all but gone now. So I thought,
yeah, exactly.
I can't play. I used to be quite good at games a long, long time ago, believe it or not. So I thought I'll just start writing about this stuff, And I'm stuck in silver, so I think that explains why.
Hey, I'm silver as well. We can duo sometime.
There's nothing wrong with silver players.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. There's nothing wrong with
it. It could be worse. We could be bronze.
Yeah, that is true, actually.
So you were talking about League of Legends. What was the original idea behind your Dawn and Dusk teams? Why did you decide to get into League of Legends in that way?
Like I said, like I was like amazed by the structure of the league scene in the UK. Not only did they have actually a higher skill cap, I would say, they actually had funding, and that was from like Riot, and they had like ESL Masters when we started was like running at the time. So we were like, oh, what was at that point I was like, what is our business plan? How do I take Enclave from this organization that everyone thought was a meme or people called bedroom org, whatever, and then how do I progress it into an actual org or a business? And I decided that like League was a good idea. And our first initial thing, like for me, is a massive part of this. I have to mention him. The first like idea was to just get into ESL. Like if we could get into ESL, then after that. Like at the time we had kind of like a semi business plan of like creating, and I'm pretty sure you'll ask the question later about the reporting of the Perilous roster, but yeah, we tried to like we tried to do like news things and like try to get revenue from that. Yeah, and then like create that into them being able to fund teams and trickle that down to the players. But and that like our big idea was like we get into ESL, people will know us, people will check out our website. So that's when we like started a trial, and then after our trials we realized like, oh god, we've got so many players, and also at the same time we could see that some of these players like had a lot of skill, like Gould, and at the time we thought Aaron, who's IGN's law, like had a lot of skill. So we picked them up as a Dusk like academy team, but then put everyone that we thought these guys are going to be the people who are getting us into ESL onto Dawn. But that roster did actually change because I think the junk, because Fromy left obviously, and then our top laner we changed for Prelude. Incy, our carry.
So is that roster confirmed now then, Philip? What's happening to those rosters for the next split?
The Dawn one, we're looking to raise the bar on that. Like before it was like kind of mid to upper to like mid to lower master. But this time after this is why like i60 was so big for us, and was because I wanted to like have a platform or to like kind of launch ourselves and launch the investment that we wanted to put in. So Dawn, we want to offer people funding so that we can get the best and create that as like a master to challenger roster, which is going well so far. We've got about 6 people trialing, but so it's like it's going well there. The Dusk roster is kind of like different. We kind of want to raise that. It's still in an academy way, because I know there's people in there like again Gould, who I really want to see, because the guy's insane. Like he puts in so much effort, and so do like most of the other players. And I kind of want to see them grow into better and then release them into the scene. So I want to kind of raise them to how Dawn were last season. So like raise just them up a little bit. Each of them, but Dawn is like probably going to be our main focus to try and get like top 2 to rival MnM.
Yeah, sure. So is that roster finalised, Dawn, or is there going to be a few
Uh,
changes? Maybe.
uh, I can say for sure that the only player that we sadly are not continuing with is Beely.
Yeah.
But like everyone else is in retrial, and
Okay.
we'll be adding more trialists to that roster. So we don't know when it will be finalized, but we're hoping that over the next few weeks we're able to bring in more and more trialists who are like master players, so we can again rival MnM, which is going to be a hard job, but someone
Yeah,
has
well,
to do
you
it.
never know where those players are going to go, right? You know, MnM, a lot of those players are on the verge, for me, of getting into the sort of Challenger Series level, players like
Yeah,
Larson and things like that. So their roster might be different. Who knows what's going to happen? I know MnM
yeah,
just today was saying there's an announcement coming out around the Challenger Series qualifiers. You know, so we don't know what's going to happen there, but no, that's an interesting point you made. You know, you guys finished, I think it was joint fifth
yeah.
overall in the ESL Prem split, which you know, that's pretty good considering it was your first split in
Yeah,
the ESL Prem. What are your reflections there? How did you feel that split went for you guys?
to be honest, at first, when we were trying to build up to it, all we wanted to do was just qualify. That's what that really mattered about us. Qualify, get our names out there. We never imagined that like we would have Prelude to hit Challenger this season. Like I did when that when he was like mentioned to me by Gould, he was like, I've got this insane top laner who's challenger in NA, and I was like, yeah, sure, like nice joke, you're pulling my leg. But we tried him anyway, and I remember he just was playing Nautilus, and he destroyed this Fiora, and I was like, wait, isn't that matchup the other way? And then and then we were okay. We'll sign him on. Never did we think that he would go on to be, he would actually be a challenger player. And then the rest of the roster, Range came in at last minute after we qualified, because Rindo had a moment and decided to leave. So yeah, we got Range in, who was again a master player. So we ended up with a quite good roster for our first season, and it was again I think after the season I was actually disappointed we didn't get higher, because if you look at the roster and you look how much they practiced, I think they probably practiced at least they practiced at least in the league. I think what was it? I remember you writing an article about Cyclone, about the new coach, who said
Yeah.
the guys practice every single day, and then me and Frimmy, the manager, was like, that's a wet dream for us. But our boys would practice only two or three times a week, and sometimes that wouldn't be enough, even good enough practice. So I think with more practice we could have actually got higher, because also in some of our games, for some reason, we were best of two drawers. I think we drawed every single game except MnM and Xanax, the finalists.
Yeah.
Who I even thought we could beat Xanax if we had played them later on in the season. But yeah, we or at least draw with them, because we did do with XL. But there were just a few picks that I kind of tilted me. I remember. Did you watch any of the games?
I watched most of them, yeah, the ones that were on stream. I know some weeks there
Yeah.
was a separate stream, and it was difficult for me to watch both streams at once, but I did what I could. We had another guy in the team, David, who was doing some of our match reports, so
I remember
he
David.
watched a lot. I think he actually, well, yeah, he did last split. He wrote some of the match reports for ESL UK website, so he watched them. I watched a mix, and from what I saw, I thought you guys were good. It was a funny split, because I thought that a lot of teams could have finished around that sort of third to fifth place area.
Yeah,
it was up for grabs.
Yeah, I thought it was actually in terms of competition. Obviously, MnM weren't in full force until they got back all their players in week 4, because they were playing with Charlie T.
That's right.
And that in mid, who still were good players, but I think in week 4 they got back Larson. I can't remember who they played with bottom. Was it Deadly or
They had Deadly, I think, for a couple of games at least. Yeah, so their roster chopped and changed, and it wasn't more regular until just before the finals, I think.
Yeah, and Xanax obviously were running away with it. and then obviously MnM were. Then they got back to their full strength and they smashed it. But below that, it was like it really was anyone's game. Anyone I think could have beaten anyone. It just came down to like the picks or the draft. I mean, like in one game for some reason, our coach decided to pick Singed when we hadn't played it for like. Oh no, I guess it wasn't our coach. It was Prelude being Prelude and saying like I can carry on this because that guy does like have insane confidence in himself. But when you pick Singed and you haven't practiced it before, like it won't work. And when that happened, I think I nearly fired the coach at that point. Love you now, Ray, but yeah, you were close there. You were close. I was mega tilted, and the same thing in the first game, like out of nowhere. Jax, and I was just like, wait, have we practiced this? And Frimmy was like, no, and I think we lost it. So there were a few games where we threw because like in versus XL we like won first game, then picked Singe second game. So yeah, it was but yeah, overall system like overall season, sorry, if you would have given me that, like if you would have said to me you would have been joint fifth with people like who was it, GLB and
GLB and Bulldog, I think it was.
Yeah, even though for some reason on the ESL stream they showed us 7th, but yeah, I think if you would have said that to me, then I would have like chewed your hand off. I never would have expected us to do that well in our first season.
Yeah, I don't know if that was something to do with how ESL's table is set up, because it said that 3 teams were 7th. It had the top 4, then it had 3 teams 7th, all with the same points. The same won-loss ratio, you know. So what are your ambitions for the next split then? You know, obviously, I guess you've got to qualify again, right? So
yeah. Obviously, we have to like the next split for ESL is like quite a while away, I guess. Yeah. I think the next is Masters. And like that's I think next is Masters, and is that top 10 teams or top 8?
I'm not sure. You know, I'm not sure that they might change the qualifying system for Masters.
Yeah. But I think it was I think if I'm right, I think it is top 10. But which means that like more teams obviously are going to get in there. So like I'm not that worried about like qualifying really. But my ambition probably for next season is to rival MnM, because they've like now won the last, is it 2 or 3?
The last 2, I believe. Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, and even like Xanax like rivaled them at like throughout the season. I think like their game versus them went 1-1, but then obviously on stage when they were like full force, they just demolished them 3-0. So
yeah, they got that LAN experience, a lot of those players.
Like you know, yeah. So it was. I think what we want to do is like rival MnM and finally like give them a run for their money, so that like because that CSQ spot is pretty important to me, because I don't as much as like, you know, we are still starting out. I don't want to stay in like ESL forever.
No, and what are your thoughts on that CS qualifiers spot, Philip? Because with MnM, one thing that's frustrated me, and it's no one's fault really, but the players own the spot, right? It's from what I hear. I don't know if that's an arrangement between MnM and the players, or if it's an ESL thing or not. I think it's an arrangement between MnM and the players.
It must be, because for ESL Premiership, they all go into the spot as long as they have 3 of the original members of the team. So it must, like, again, I don't really know. Like, I don't want to speculate, but
no.
Based on the ESL Prem, then it must be for them to be allowed to decide what they want to do.
Say you guys won the next split, just for argument's sake. And some of your players said, "Look, I want to find other teams in the Challenger Series. I want to bring in other better players and not represent Enclave." What would your reaction be to that? Would you rather Enclave stick together for the Challenger Series qualifiers, or would you look to shake up the roster and let them do their own thing?
I think because obviously you have a few options. You could sell the spot, for instance, that I think MnM tried to do last season, but I don't know if they were successful in doing so. So it's either you sell the spot, or you try to go for it, or if MnM are like give it to the players, or the players like decide that they want to go to somewhere else like Spain or something. For me personally, if we had a good chance of qualifying, then I would go for it. I would make sure that they were contracted to do so. Because if you're pumping in the amount, like if you're pumping in the amount of money that we want to do next season, and like giving these players like free lands and whatever, you kind of want something in return. Like if you getting the CSQ spot and winning ESL is obviously like is a no, he didn't. Okay, Cal says he didn't try to sell the spot last season. Sorry, I didn't know. But yeah, like yeah, if we could go for the spot, like if we could go for it, then I would, because this like obviously getting the spot and winning the ESL Prem is like is quite important, and it builds up your reputation a lot. But like yeah, I would personally want to do that, but again, I'd never been in that position. I don't know what happens when it gets to that point, or I don't know what MnM are doing. But it's sad that they're not going for it, because I kind of want a UK team to like try and go for it and smash it out.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Cal. It wasn't looking to sell the spot. It was looking for I think additional investment or something, and that fell through sadly. I think late on, but obviously we've touched on some of the other orgs, Philip, and every org is different. I played in an ARAM match with Dusk the other day. I think Cameron invited me randomly, and it was good fun. I was really bad. I got put as Rengar, but the sort of camaraderie between the players and the management seems pretty fun at Enclave. Is that an important aspect of what you do, along with like the aim to win? Tell us a bit about the ethos of what makes your org different.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like I built the org to be for the players. That's why when we went to I60, the org didn't take any prize pool, because my thinking is that if you don't put any money in for the LAN, then you shouldn't take anything from it. I think also the stuff that we got back from it was more than enough, but. If you're trying to run an org for the players, and you make sure that that like when I do contracts as well, it's the same thing. It's that I don't as long like I don't really care, and what you demand from us, I don't really mind as well, as long as you guys are happy. You have what you you have to succeed. But the banter between the management and the players is like. It kind of goes how it's me and the players versus the management for some reason. My favorite thing to do is like troll my management. Like for me will be like going crazy, going crazy, like, oh, why are you guys doing this and stuff like that. And I'll just be like laughing with one of the players. I remember at LAN, the I60, like they were trying to have a serious team talk, and I was just leaning over to like hire Zhang, who's the academy jungler, and I was like just whispering stuff in his ear to annoy them. But yeah, it is very much built on like how we do things and how we get people to do things is very much built on like our friendship with them, and making sure that they're okay, they're happy playing on the org, and they want to do things for us, because that's, I think if you're trying to run an org that doesn't make a massive amount of profit, the one thing you can do is be like a family. And I have a lot of people like Owen, who does the graphics, Simon, who does the website for me, Cameron, everyone, and the coaches, Matt, and that, they all do it for free, and simply because they buy into what we're trying to do here, like as a family environment, and trying to make sure that everyone is okay, and we're there to provide any support that they need. But yeah, the banner does, I don't know, sometimes it does get a bit out of control, so you have to like get a bit stern with them, which is always weird. Like the guys all fell. The Dust team fell down to D5, and we had to come in and be like, "Come on, guys, what you doing here?" But most of the time, it's fun, and that's the reason why I like jumping in their team speak and joking around with them.
Yeah, sure. Tell us a bit about the win at I60 on the weekend, then, Philip. There was obviously it was great for you guys to win, but there was a debate on Twitter after the event with people sort of bemoaning the decline of League of Legends player and team skill, which, to be fair, is mainly down to not as many teams taking part because of the lower £1,500 prize pool, right? So can you reflect on that event and what it meant to win, and are you hungry for more LAN wins, and maybe a bit about your reaction to the Twitter debate?
My reaction, first of all, to the Twitter debate was pretty like, At that point, I was like on cloud nine that we like won. I was like happy. So nothing really struck me back. I know that for me, was a bit annoyed at some of the people, but in all honesty, I kind of agreed with most people that the competition was not really that high. I mean, yes, Digital Warfare there, and yes, they had a good roster, but I don't think that even they really riled us. We played like two best of threes versus them on that day, and we beat them both times. I think the both games we lost versus them were very much just come down to drafting and not allowing like Prelude to like stomp basically like he did in the third game as what was it I can't remember. Oh, Jarvan. But like, so in a way, I do agree that you know, the skill level wasn't like extremely high there. I think what Frozen Dawn said was like most important. No one can like take the win away from us. We 100% deserve it. But like, if MnM there, then it would have been a lot harder to win it. But saying that at the same time, if people like XL, Bulldogs, even Xanax were there, I still think that we had a good chance because of like how we performed against them this year. So I understand the criticism. So I wasn't that. The only really thing that annoyed me was people just being sarcastic, and like being sarcastic and taking the mickey out of like if you're gonna say something, then I like and criticize us, then I'll accept it if it's constructive criticism. But if you're just honestly just joking because you're not just I don't know why, if you're getting jealous, then or I don't know the reasons why. But if you're doing that, then what's really the point? You're just being an arse on Twitter. At that point, like. I was like taken back by how many people like Payne, who's the owner of like his Mecha eSports, was like really like well done and everything like that. So I was taken aback by that. But yeah, I should have expected it, to be honest. It's the UK scene after all.
It comes.
No one
with,
could be how. Yeah, exactly.
It comes with it, right? If you win something, suddenly you're in the limelight a bit more, even if there weren't many other massive teams taking part. But I think for me, I've been following the UK scene coming up to 2 years now, and it's changed so much in that time. We've seen the big players before like Infused and Choke and FM and the likes have all sort of left UK League of Legends behind. And while that's been sad on one note, on the other hand, it's allowed orgs like yourself the room to sort of flourish and express themselves. Even MnM, when I started following Season 2, MnM weren't in the ESL split back then, and then they came into League of Legends, qualified, suddenly put together a really good roster, and now they're one of the top ones in the UK. So in a way, it allows, I can see ups and downs to it, the change in scene.
Yeah, like obviously teams and orgs and players that are leaving like the scene, it will leave a gap that somewhat it will take time to fill. But like the reason why we went there is simply because that we have a competitive drive to win. I don't care if the prize, like I went to the Dota land that had no prize pool, just some gifts and stuff like that. Like it really doesn't matter to me. It's pretty much all about winning. The prize pool is just an added bonus, really. So we went there knowing, to be honest, we knew that there was going to be not that much competition there, but it doesn't matter. Like we're going somewhere Insomnia, and if MnM are there, then that would be great. It'll be great to see my boys play against them, and if we can win, it'll be fantastic. I'll lose my mind, but it's just whatever. It's just what happens. Somebody has to fill that hole, and we did it this time, and it's been extremely successful for us. We have people, first time I have people messaging me about sponsorships, first time and
That's
like
brilliant.
Yeah, exactly. And I've had people coming up to me, LAN investors and stuff like that, saying, if I give you this certain amount of money, what are you going to do with it, and that. And I think I might meet one tomorrow, actually. So like, it doesn't really matter. The win is all that matters, and we got it in the end. So
I completely agree with you, mate. At the end of the day, esports is competitive. You're there to win. I've seen some good friendly orgs in the UK scene, some maybe not near the top, but at the end of the day, this is about winning, right? It's about being competitive and everything, and putting putting yourself to the test. You know, the fact that you took part in competitions where there weren't prize pools, just to test yourselves and try and win, I think is really commendable. There's a few people in the chat have been quite active. Ninjaroni has said, "Will this finally be the year the UK scene takes off?" And there's a few other people saying, like Demo, saying there's some good up and coming UK junglers, and you know, Toxic Dares, and there's lots of people they're talking about here. What are your thoughts on this year for UK? Do you think it could be one of its biggest ones yet?
I think if we get competitive, if Choke comes back with a good roster, if you know, in some, like, we have Masters now again, and then we have the summer like, I think these next 4 months, if it does take off, then it has to really do it in these next 4 months, because of it. Like the biggest LAN always in out of Insomnia's like list is the summer one. Then we have the Masters, and then ESL, I think, like right after it. So these 4 months are going to be a big test. If we can get competitive teams in there again, like us and Choke, and I've heard a few others that I can't remember. If we can do that, then yeah, like it can show that it's a competitive scene, and it can show that it's more than willing to be as entertaining as, like, you know, Ragnarok and the Spanish scene. It just also needs, you know, if this eSports, it's called the UK Esports Association, isn't it?
Yeah, so I work for them 4 days a week.
You're the content developer, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm a content guy there, so I do a little bit of project management, but I work with the management there to put some initiatives into place and things like that. This year we've got some good plans. Now it's putting those plans into action. There's some cool stuff we're doing around June time to look out for. I can't say yet, but and that's really looking at the grassroots as well. Not whereas you guys, I'd say amateur orgs, you know, or semi-pro or whatnot. The real grassroots, if you look at it, is schools and things like that. So
like
educating
I know
people, you know. So we'll be doing stuff there.
Yeah, I know that, like, I think it's in Holland or Denmark. One of the coaches that we used at LAN was Lanardi. He teaches League of Legends in schools.
Yeah, that's amazing.
You know, so I think if the Esports Association really wanted to help out this year, it'd be putting forward, like, what these next 4 months, pushing, you know, grassroots, pushing even the top, like at our level. Like, I think Spain, the one thing that Spain has over us is that they're actually on TV. And, you know, if there's some way that we can get a deal worked, that we can actually, the ESL finals or something, just to get us out there, like into the mainstream, then I think it will benefit us. But it really just comes down to how competitive we can be. So hopefully we'll be joining, you know, that list of competitive teams.
I've been wanting to do an article on the Spanish scene, why players are moving over there, and also what the UK scene can learn from it. But it's quite hard when all their tweets are in Spanish and whatnot. So I reached out to Riot, and they've been trying to sort an interview out for me with someone who looks after that Spanish scene. So hopefully once I get that, I'll be able to do an article and say, like, what lessons can we learn, you know, the UK scene can learn, because they have more viewers, you know. I think money and stuff is better out there, so I think to be excitement around it as well, you know.
Yeah, I think what Ferndog just said is that there's a big difference in structure. In the scene, like, you know, even teams that like aren't the favourites to win it have gaming houses and stuff like that. You know, I've heard some things apparently that some orgs are going to get gaming houses this year, but I don't know like what's really happening with that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of big differences between us and the Spanish scene, and it's definitely something we can learn from. But to be honest, like, even if you're in the Dota 2 scene in the UK, you know, even the League of Legends scene is, like, the structure there is a wet dream for them. So shout out to my Dota 2 lot.
Yeah, and that's Ferndog has said that the Spanish scene averages 8k to 15k viewers weekly, you know, so it's a massive difference. We're more around a k or two. I know there was a freak result around IEM, but that was a one-off, you know. But, you know, onwards and upwards, hopefully it can grow in the future. You made an interesting point at the start of this interview talking about news and the article you guys did on the Perilous Rift roster disbanding. Now listen, from a journalist perspective, I love the fact that organisations do their own news posts about their own orgs, because it helps me. They're like mini press releases for me. I see them. The only thing is they're not sort of sent direct to my inbox, so I have to be always on Twitter keeping my eye out for things, you know. But it helps me. Like, you know, Bulldog announced their new roster yesterday, and I saw it come up. I did a post on it linking through to them. It helps them because there's a link through to their site. It helps me because I get to cover the news. So I like the fact that orgs do their own news, but I think the fact that you wrote about another org and a rival org, it upset them, didn't it? I think their owner Mick upset them a bit. But
yeah, he got. Yeah, I'd
what
see
was the
Chin.
response like? You know, it's not easy to do the news, is it? You know.
Yeah, Chin, who's on the Chin, who was like the manager at the time, was literally just tweeted at me, "Perilous news post, ha 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 ha." So, yeah, it was because, you know, like I said, like our business plan was to get revenue through like doing about news, and you know, that day, me and Simon, the head of web operations, were like, how do we create views? And it was like, we took a kind of leaf out your book, was like, the best way to do it is fast reactions. Like, you know, once it's announced, you get it out there, you get the views. You know, you got to get your piece out there to take a piece of the pie. But you know, it was our first time. Simon, like, to be honest, that article was tame compared to what Simon first gave me. I was like, no, don't say this. Don't. It was saying, and for me at the same time, it's like, guys, this is not going to go well. We're like, shut up for him. It will be fine. And then, you know, it tasted it. And then after reading about it, I kind of realized, like, to be honest, we should have messaged Perilous straight away. Like, I have a big thing about, if you're going to do something about another org, if you're gonna like say something about someone else's org, or you're gonna approach their players, I feel like you should message them first and say, look, I'm talking to your player, so they have adequate time to respond. Even though we kind of didn't do that to MnM this week, which is, Kyle, if you're in the chat, sorry about that. We didn't know. But like, yeah.
What was that? Sorry, what was that you did with MnM?
We approached some of MnM's players by accident, because Frimmy gave
by
me
accident. How do you accidentally approach a player?
Frimmy gave me a list, Frimmy gave me a list of people that I thought were, when he gave it to me, were LFT. So we were like, okay. When he was like, should I message this guy? I was like, yeah, do it. Like, it's fine. And then after, Cal tweeted that thing out about when people tried to poach me, and at first we later cleared it up that it wasn't about us, but at first we reported about this, and we were like, oh no, we don't want to like piss off MnM. So I like emailed him straight away and was like, yo, I'm so sorry, we didn't mean to. Luckily he emailed me back and was like, yeah, it's fine, like, it wasn't about you, but like, thanks anyway for like messaging us. So I was like, oh, thanks. I'm not. The Twitch chat's going mad right now because I'm staying there exposed.
This is good, guys. I'm happy. This Twitch chat is very active. This is good.
Yeah, all I'm seeing right now is actually just a bunch of Enclave members, but
there is a lot of now. There's a mix of people there from different orgs and things. There's a lot of caps, guys. There's a lot of caps going on there, but yeah, that's okay. But look, I want to commend you guys in a way for trying something different. There's not many orgs that will cover news about other orgs, and although you might have annoyed them,
we apologise. Like, I messaged Mick straight away after and was like, in retrospect, like, what we're trying to do here, we do have to like cover news, like stuff like that, but we did it. We went about it the wrong way, and like, I apologised for that. I didn't get a reply, so after a while I was just like, okay, they don't like us. But I talked to Brian, who's now the general manager, who I've known for a while because he was involved in the Dota scene, and they were like, yeah, like, obviously it wasn't the best, but you know, we understood your like your apology and stuff, and we like accept it. And I tried to get in contact with Mick to like have a Skype conversation with him to say sorry, but I couldn't get through to him. But you know, if you're watching, I'm sorry, we didn't mean to.
But from a journalist perspective, Philip, my 2 cents on it is, I think it's good that you were. You know, it's good for orgs to create content on their sites, right? Original content is great. Google likes it, gives you traffic. It's valuable to your sponsors and things like that. from my perspective, like the stuff I write about the UK scene doesn't get loads of traffic. You know, it might get a few hundred hits. The top stories, the drama or scandals or things like that might get a few thousand hits. But recently, I've been branching out into other content. So I wrote a story about how German streamers are going to need a broadcasting license, an official broadcasting license. Otherwise, they'll be billed as a pirate station and stuff. The reason I covered that is because we have a few people that read the site or that we write about, like streamers like Foxdrop and Groscore, and you know, people like that who occasionally read the site, and they're part of the culture. You know, Foxdrop has done some casting stuff for ESL Prem. You know, Groscore knows some of the players in the scene. We're all one big community, so I've had some criticism for it, but I'm going to continue to write about those things because it is in that sort of esports sphere, you know. And those articles have done well for me. So, you know, maybe orgs like yourselves writing about patch notes or something. You know, you could get your top laner to say, "Oh, the top lane meta's changed." I think people will be interested in that kind of stuff, and that's unique content, you know. So I urge orgs like yourselves to write content and make video content, because the more content, the better. It all promotes this scene, you know.
No, like I totally agree, and that's why, like, it's been kind of on the back pedal, like our pedal, sorry, like our focusing on news and stuff like that. But it's still something that we want to do. Still something that we are looking to, like, employ people to write news about. I mean, we did the like the Blink Dota write-ups were like hugely successful for us. And we were trying to look at like different scenes. We did want to do ESL write-ups and stuff like that. It just didn't pan out because it was like going so crazy that we were finally in ESL. But like I don't know why you would get criticized though for like branching out your content.
Mate, I get all kinds of it comes with the territory, I think, as a journalist. You know, you'll sometimes get compliments. I'll put an article out. What did I put out the other week? I put an article out about this guy who's approaching different orgs or sponsors saying, can I represent you? Can I represent you? And people saying no, no, no. And then he keeps on going saying, can I represent you? Can I wear a jersey and all this stuff? So I did a post on it. I had some people laughing about it. I had some people saying this is awful and needs to be highlighted, and then I had other people saying to me, "He's just a kid, Dom. That's disgusting what you're doing. You're flaming a kid and putting him in front." So I have to take all those different viewpoints on board, but I'm still, because it was in the public domain, it was on Twitter, I'm still going to write about it, you know, because I thought it was of interest.
Like, in a way, like if you have the balls to join the scene and try to get, because like everyone who knows. Should know that once you join the UK scene, you leave yourself open to criticism. Like at any point, it doesn't matter. When I first started, you know, I was naive in some aspects, but people will do that, and like you just have to get over it. And I think I know who you're talking about, but
I can't remember the guy's name now. I know that sounds really bad, but he was a COD. I think he was a COD player. I'm bad. Like once I've written a story, you're on to the next one.